Hello, world. What's up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest is a prolific YouTube content creator Forbes called the #1 influencer in gaming. A channel that started 7 years ago as a collection of Let's Play videos has evolved to include animation, sketch comedy, and vlogs that collectively rake in more than 200 million views every month. His latest creation, the YouTube original special, A Heist With Markiplier, is a wildly entertaining and elaborate interactive adventure where the viewer decides the outcome and tries to avoid an untimely death. He also has a clothing line, a podcast. He's helped raise literally millions of dollars for charity. Folks, writer, director, and star of A Heist With Markiplier, the man himself. Markiplier is here. How about that, guys? Make some noise. He can hear you. Pumped. There's audible woos in the room. We're excited. We're going to bring him out in just a second. But first, I believe we have a trailer for the special. So let's go ahead and run that clip.
Oh, this is it? This is really it? This is gonna change our lives forever.
They gotta be around here somewhere.
You're right. You know what? You're right. But we need to split up. Cover more ground.
That's a great idea. I love that idea.
Yeah, stick to the plan and you'll be just fine. But if you deviate from it for even a single moment, I won't come back for you. Okay? Good luck. Watch your head. Best friend.
Oh, man, it's so much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Markiplier is right here. Make some noise. Come on, do it up.
Hi. Hello. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Whoever made that, really
right?
handsome.
Knows what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mad genius.
I actually did make that trailer myself.
Did you make the trailer as well?
Yeah. I made the whole special too, but
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah.
What if I was more impressed by the trailer that you did that?
Honestly, I'd be okay with it because that's a sick trailer and I really like it. Yeah.
That's something we'll get to in a little bit because, yeah, as a YouTube creator, you're used to doing a lot of things yourself. You have your hands in almost every part of the process. I'm excited to talk to you about that. But just first and foremost, congratulations. This thing's awesome. We were talking about it backstage, just how people have tried to do similar things before, but there's something, I don't know if it's just you because of how likable you are or if it's the comedy or just whatever it is. This feels right, and it's so much fun. I personally have gone through like 15 or 20 of the 31 endings. And it's a blast, man.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot for you to say. Like, we've tried one of these before, and it was that same, like, thing. We didn't know exactly why it was working, but people loved it. And I think just because we focused on making something that was going to be fun. And no discredit to anyone else that's made anything like this before. I'm not saying this is the best of them all. Yeah, it might be. Hopefully it is. But all I'm saying is that we just set out to make something that was going to be enjoyable for anybody. Of 31 endings, that sounds intimidating, but what I wanted is anyone could jump in, get an ending, and have a satisfying outcome. Yeah. And I think that's what we accomplished.
And I think what's also satisfying is even if the ending is it comes faster than you expect, there's some amount of joy in, oh, let me try again. Let me see if I go this way, if I go that way. And just like the replayability of it and all the multiple outcomes. Was it daunting? What is it like writing something? I mean, you did it before with A Date with Markiplier, and you had multiple outcomes there. But writing something at this scale, what does that look like?
I am not a writer. You don't agree with that.
You said it before.
That's where you got to go like, no, you're good, man. You're good.
You seem to know what you're doing to achieve this, but you've said before, I'm not a writer. So, like, what were you thinking?
Well, with most things I do, what was I thinking? I don't know, madness.
Again, it worked.
Yeah.
You should be very proud.
By chance. What a fluke. Amazing.
Clearly deliberate.
7 years on YouTube, all riding by the seat of my pants, like just complete fluke. Yeah. But no, it was intimidating. I'm not a writer, but the way I write is illustrative enough that it can get the point across. And there was like this slogan on set, you know, Mark knows. Anyone who read the script was like, well, this is crap. This doesn't make any sense at all. But they trusted me because YouTube was kind enough to give me complete creative control of the project. Yeah, crazy, right? What were they thinking? But, you know, they gave me creative control of it, and they allowed me to direct it. They allowed me to be, like, the star of it and work all those pieces. And I'm not saying I did it by myself, because I definitely did not. The whole team behind it was so kind to me. As someone who's getting into this field and getting into directing a crew of, like, 30-plus people, that's new. That's not something I'm good at, or at least it wasn't something I was good at when I started. But I trusted them, they trusted me, and it led to bringing something to the table that was better than the sum of its parts.
You get a little window into that. I think it's, I want to say For the Greater Good has a great credit roll at the end of it where you see a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and you see, like, the amount of people and just the amount of planning and all that. It's really cool to watch the scale at which this like happened, like, and all the things that you were controlling. I'm curious about, man, because if you look back, if you go to, as many people have done, you go to the comments, you go to your channel, you sort by oldest, and you look at those original videos, and you go back to the beginning. You know, it started off with a series of Let's Play videos, and you're playing horror games, playing Amnesia and all that. When did you decide, did you start then thinking, I'm going to be a writer, I'm going to be a creator, or when did it, like, flip, and you go, I want to start doing original stuff and being funnier?
Being funnier? You said
well,
that
like,
wasn't funny before?
You were funny, but, like, you know what I mean? Like a comedian. You were, you know what I mean?
Right.
You were naturally funny. You were instinctively funny. You were responding. Unless you
nice
wrote out
save,
those
okay.
things. I am a professional.
Right.
But seriously, at some point you bridged the gap between what you were doing and where the channel started to straight up writing sketch comedy, writing animations, doing all these things that are a totally different beast than the reaction videos and the Let's Play videos.
Well, yeah, it's actually funny you mentioned going back to my oldest stuff, because just a couple days ago, like 2-3 days ago, I went and I sorted by oldest on my videos because I was looking for when I first made my first sketch. Because I needed to know for some crap, I don't remember what it was, and then I just started going through my old videos, and I saw, like, the cringy crap that I made a long time ago. But it's endearing, even if it's a little poorly made, because that was the best I could do at the time. And I think it's always been a goal of mine to be able to do stuff like this. It's just, I didn't know how. This was, like, the 7 years before this was my film school. Like, yeah, I was an engineer before this, biomedical engineering. Well, I didn't graduate, so I wasn't officially an engineer, but I was going to be an engineer. And so I had no idea I was going to be a part of this. And it's hard to encapsulate those 7 years in a bite-sized sentence, because it was every day for me. Every single day I would wake up taking the lessons I learned from the day before and applying it to the future project. And 7 years of that, of just trial by fire, making mistakes, led to me being able to do something
Thinking,
like this.
like, each day thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I could, wouldn't it be cool?
That's exactly it.
Now, what happened when YouTube came to you and said, hey, I hope you trained enough because here's a big check and we want you to do whatever you want? Like,
Well,
was that scary or was that exciting?
I mean, I'd like to think that it was a dark alley deal like that. Like, they jumped out of the shadows with a trench coat and they just opened it up and money poured out. Wasn't like that.
How I thought it happened. That's how we all envisioned it. That's what I thought happened.
That's how YouTube works. I thought everyone knew this. No, it was very different. YouTube wanted me to do an originals for a while. Like, I think back in 2016, I first started talking about it. I had some ideas, but, you know, I was like, I don't know, because I didn't think they would give me creative control, and I didn't know if I had the confidence to do it yet. So, oddly enough, after the first talks, it was like, okay, I'm going to make stuff on my own. That's how I made A Date with Markiplier, which is the precursor to this, and just showcase how egotistical I am to have my name on every project. But that's where the fans had their dreams come true, and they went on a date with me. But it was fun. Like that. What?
Snickering as you say that.
They're laughing because they agree with me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Agreeing laughter and affirmation.
So we tried that, and it was something we made by ourselves. We made another thing called Who Killed Markiplier? this is not looking good for me. But yeah, and then, I made a few more things. I worked with steadily bigger crews. And then by the time I was ready to pitch this to YouTube, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted. It's like if there's an artist who's drawing, when they first start out, they can imagine it clear in their mind. I think all of us can, but they can't translate that to paper. It was only through practice of doing it again and again and again that I'm able to get this imagination in my head onto a screen in a logical way. And it's doubly complex when there's so many moving parts to something like this. Yeah.
How was there, maybe this is too large of a question, but was there a specific thing that you can point to that when you did A Date With or Who Murdered Thee, you were like, thank God I did that thing because I wouldn't have been able to do any of this if I didn't know how to do X, Y, and Z?
Oh, yeah. Figuring out first-person perspective was the hardest thing. Yeah, exactly. Because how do you do it? Because Hardcore Henry exists. They did first-person perspective. They did it very well. They showcased that you could cut in there without it being too jarring. But for me, the field of view was too wide. It was too, all over the place. I wanted this kind of smooth on the rails, almost like you were on one of those roller coasters that you had with a video playing. I wanted it to be like that because I didn't want people to be distracted by what was happening. But that itself was a problem because now things are slow. They're so slow. So the world around you has to move fast. You have to cover transitions cleverly. You have to do whips and stuff like that. There's so many nuances to how to think of what should the field of view be? How much perspective? Where are the hands? How do we get hands in there? Because for the majority of it, we didn't have a body rig. We had just a big old Ronin, and we were pushing a camera around. So we just had to have the crew just reach under the camera like this and grab something. Yeah, exactly.
That's wild, man. Is that the kind of thing where everybody would look at it and go, well, I guess we just have to trust Mark on this?
Exactly, yeah. That was the slogan. Mark knows. Mark knows. I had it all up in here, and if I didn't know what was happening, it wasn't going to happen.
My God, what kind of anxiety at the end of the day when you go home, you go, do I know? God, I hope I know.
No.
Everybody keeps saying I know.
Dude,
What if I don't know?
I'm incredible. I'm a genius. No. It is daunting. It's really daunting. I have to realize that when I'm doing this is they trust me completely, and they shouldn't. I don't know. I didn't give them a single reason why, but they did.
That's not entirely true.
Yeah, well, maybe a little bit true, but agree to disagree.
You've given them a couple million billion reasons.
Okay, all right, fair.
They know, all right, maybe they don't understand it and they got to go, Mark knows, but they know that whatever it is you're doing seems to work.
Yeah.
People respond to you and the stuff that you create. I think that's where the trust comes from.
But the poor, set dresser who's like, where's this tree go? And I go, all right, imagine. We're entering from this doorway. We turn, see, tree right there. It's they don't need to know that level of detail, but I would explain it that way all the time.
Have it at that level. You're ready there for that.
Yeah.
What was the trickiest sequence?
The musical.
Really?
Yeah, spoiler for everyone who hasn't seen it, there's a musical in it. We had so little time. Time was our enemy the whole shoot. And with this musical, not only did we have to choreograph a dance, set up the scene, figure out where's the safe zone for the camera, because the camera's moving all over the place. Yeah. Where are we going to dance? Where are we going to do the music? We didn't even have the final version of the song when we were filming it. Yeah. So we were just, I sang the song in the pre-recorded version of it the wrong way, so I had to, on the day, sing it with an accent so that it would match up to the future version that I would record. All of this I had to think about at the same time. But it came together beautifully. Right. So lucky. That shouldn't have happened, but it did.
Shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different ways I want to go with follow-ups after that. But first, just because you're talking about all the things you're doing at once, how did you navigate? How did you quickly acclimate yourself to that idea of, I'm starring in this, I have to process my performance, I have to get behind the camera and make sure that I put everybody where I need them to be. How did you juggle all of those things, spin all those plates at once? Was that a hard skill set for you to learn really quickly, at that scale?
I already answered this. I'm amazing.
There we are.
There
we are. It's true. I should just go back to that.
Not at all. It's trust, because this is where I would say I did not do it all by myself. My girlfriend Amy was behind the camera watching every shot. My assistant director was being eyes on everybody, making sure that everyone was doing their part. Them coming to me afterwards and being like, that was good. We don't need to do another one. Because me, I'm always like, I want to do as many as possible. But the timetable, like the people that were watching, the script supervisor who was like, did we hit these beats? Did we get everything we needed? And sometimes we didn't get everything we needed, so we had to adapt and we had to like adjust to circumstances. It was really a collaborative effort to make sure that everything turned out perfectly.
There's a great moment. I'm thinking about, you mentioned the musical piece and just all the different elements, all the different influences you can see in here. I think when you choose the light tunnel, again, spoiler alert, guys, there's like a Looney Tunes-esque moment where you're hovering and then I love that stuff.
Thank you.
And I'm curious, how many of those influences, what are you baking in? What are you pulling from? Looney Tunes obviously is influencing you there and in a comedic way. What other like touchstones were there for you? Like,
well, I mean, I'm a hack, so I steal as much as possible from everybody else. I just get as many cliches as possible. Like the whole pirate path is just the most pirate cliche possible. The accent.
had every pirate cliche in there.
Yeah,
It
two
was like a
peg
fun
legs.
game.
Like
Yeah.
it's all the same.
Doubling down on
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like the whole character inspired by Indiana Jones, like that whole thing, just like pushing that, taking what people know and cranking it to 11 in terms of ridiculousness. Like the whole where the musical is in the prison pass, like this greaser character who killed both his parents and yet inexplicably people are in love with him. I don't get that, but they do. You know, just taking these cliches and cranking them up. Like, I love, you know, taking inspiration from other things, like, and doing them the correct service in terms of not just ripping them off. And I think if you take these kind of like elements and pay homage to them, you can create something that's like a reimagined version of it, and you can bring new life to the table. And you know, I think it's just a beautiful thing.
Well, there's such a, in all of your references within here, especially, there's a sincerity. There's like a, it's almost like you said, it's you're not ripping it off. It's kind of like a love letter. Like it's just like a, oh man, he loved this stuff too when he was growing up, and now here he is. He's got this little Looney Tunes moment and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and that ties into the great little animated sequence. What, in terms of having that briefcase of money that they slid you under or over a table, however it worked, when you have that budget, was there something right away when you were like, oh, I can finally do this thing that I've always wanted to do now that I have these resources?
It's two parts, because, you know, I see the check and I'm like, this is a bigger budget than I've ever had for anything in my life. I want to do everything possible. And then they're like, no, you can't. No, this only gets you so far. You can't do that. And then I have the crushing disappointment of like, what do you mean I can't have a completely CG space shuttle flying through here? What are you talking about? But, you know, with this particular project, I made a point that I wasn't going to take any money from it. I wanted every dollar to go into the production. And that animated portion is actually a good example of how last-minute decisions were, how opportune things were, and how amazing it was that the proper collaborators were working at any given time. It just so happened that Cranbersher, who ran point on that amongst this guy named Lixian and Gritty Sugar, both amazing animators, they just happened to have free time. Like, this guy is working amazing stop motion animations. Like I think he worked on Kubo and the Two Strings. Like I think he's working on some other cool project that I probably can't mention. And it's like he's animated stuff for me before, and he just happened to contact me like 2 days before we were supposed to shoot the live action version of that scene. That was supposed to be live action. Yeah, he contacted me. He was like, I happen to have 3 months in between projects. Got anything you want me to animate? And I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do have something. Yeah. So, because we were going to do it on a green screen. We had a raft built, and we were like, okay, we'll just composite it in. It'll be expensive, but we'll do it. And I was like, no, we can put that budget towards this. And they're like, this was actually going to be more expensive than what we were going to do before. But I'm like, it's okay. Just take what you were going to pay me and just put it to that. Yeah, and so that day it kind of saved the shoot, because then we were able to film other things that day, and everything was so last of the minute, like up to the deadline, that we gained some time there, and then put the workload on Cranbersher and Lixian and Gritty Sugar, and they were able to make something amazing.
So with the way the universe, man, just like pulled all that together for you,
Yeah.
just like put all those pieces in play.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. You mentioned talking about the prison character, and like people for some reason love this character. I'm intrigued by the idea of Data revealing stuff to you that you didn't expect or that you were surprised by, especially when you have so many different parts. There was like what, 61 different individual. So I imagine there's mountains of data that come from everyone watching this. Have you been surprised surprised by like, oh, a lot of people went this way. I thought they'd go that way.
I was surprised how even it was.
Interesting.
It was very even. And this was like a psychological trick we had to think about with like choices. I wanted the first choice to be dead even because those two split off completely and they never come back. So they have to be as even as possible. It was within 1%. It was like 49, 51%. People going one way or the other way. And a lot of the choices that we set up were that same way. A lot of people fell in the booby traps that we set up for them. And we thought, hey, my audience is smarter than this. They'll never be fooled by this. Nope, they're fooled. Like everybody fell for it. And it was really amazing to see because everyone got something. Like the original video has now been viewed 10 million times, which is astonishing for my channel. Like I love that. And so many people have enjoyed it. And you'll get to an ending and 500,000 people have seen that ending. And you're like, that 10 million people in the beginning, they all just, they filter out and they go so many different places. Yeah.
That is fascinating. Is it hard to look at that data? I mean, it sounds like it's pretty even, so it doesn't really point you in one way or another. But I'm curious, as your livelihood is based on views. You want to make content that people respond to. Do you just follow your heart and your creative muscle, or do you look at the data and go, well, people really love when I do this thing, so maybe I should do more stuff that has this thing in it?
Not really. Yeah. I'm fortunate enough in like my career that I'm well established enough that people like enjoy what I make, no matter what it is. But when it comes to something like this, I really want the imagination to run wild. I want people to not expect what's coming next. That's why there's a musical in one part of this, and not many people are going to see that. Like, I think maybe a fifth of the amount of people that started it have seen that. So, like, people are probably surprised, like, what, there's a musical in it? Like, of course, yeah, exactly. But if people really enjoy that, I don't want to specialize in something like that. And a project like this is opportunistic because I can make those special experiences for anybody. Anybody can have a good time with this. Anybody can just pick it up and they can play it, and then they can put it down if they want to. Or they can keep going over and over again, and it'll never grow stale because every direction is a new experience.
I know this is like pick your favorite child, but do you have like a preferred path? Like, is there a version of the movie that is like exactly how you would want it?
No.
That's a legitimate answer.
But
right?
no, it's all my baby. Yeah. Like they're all my babies. I've got 31 endings and I've got 31 babies, and I love them equally. Except some of them are definitely smarter than the others. Yeah. Some of my babies are just dumb as dirt.
Some of those babies are going to college. Not all of them.
Not all the babies.
Not all of them, but some of them are definitely going to be all right.
Yeah, exactly. But I love it so much. And what was fascinating is no matter when I watched it, I've seen every video 100 times over at this point, just through the different edits and stuff like that. I love it. Like, I really, really love it. I love the musical so much because the people that made the song Shmo Yoho, the Gregory brothers, they did an amazing job on it. It's another YouTube channel. And, I was so happy that they were able to do that. I love the animated portion because I love everything that everyone else made.
Right, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, the amazing guests we had on, like Rosanna Pansino, even Soda Poppin', who's a Twitch streamer and not an actor, but he stepped up to the plate.
Crushed it.
He crushed it. He was great.
Yeah.
And then Matt Pat, like the game theorist, just an amazing actor. Loved it. Like, there's so many cool things about it that I could speak forever about it. And like, I'll seem vain about it because I'm I love it so much, but I really do. This is the best thing I've ever made. Yeah. Period. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with it.
It is.
Yeah. No.
Don't laugh. It is.
You can see every single bit of that love and attention to detail in every one of the videos, man. It's so cool. I got a million other questions, but so does the rest of the world, so I'm going to take some from Twitter and from the room as well. Okay. But for people that haven't watched this or gone through it yet, YouTube original series, A Heist with Markiplier, it's on there right now. Anyone can watch it and play it and do it multiple times. And if you haven't, you're insane. Go do it right now. It's so much fun.
Oh, yeah, it's free. I forgot to mention
that's right. It's free.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's a blast, and there's no excuse not to mess around with it. It's so great. So let's go ahead and get some questions from outside world. Twitter is coming at us first. This is from @thegeekopia. How do you stay motivated through the entire project? I'm sure there were days tougher than others. How did you power through them?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you the toughest day. Well, okay, the toughest day was the last day because we were filming the whole beginning of it. We only had the Austin Public Library for 12 hours. We pushed it to 14. Like, we went overtime every single day. But I'm going to tell you about an experience that was the hardest of all. I was the pirate, right? Yep. Pirate. I am not a costume designer, so I didn't even think about this. But I wrote the pirate as this huge, tall, enormous man. I had 2 giant logs for peg legs. I had a shirt, a muscle suit, football pads, a jacket, another jacket over that, and just belts and stuff. The only place I had to vent heat on my body was right here because I had a big ass beard and like everything was covered from head to toe. I almost died. I lost, not joking, 7 pounds of water weight that day. Wow. Not a lie. I stepped on the scale the day before, I was like 186. I stepped on the scale the day after, I was 178. Like, I lost a lot.
So, see, that's how you do it, people. Just dress as a giant pirate, and you will shed whatever you're trying to get rid of. It's gone.
It'll be close to death, but whatever, it's fine. No, I love moments like that. I love that. I'm probably crazy like this. I stay motivated through it because I see what it can be. And if you're doing something like this, you can never lose sight of what it can be. Even when it's not looking like it when you're shooting it, if you've seen this before and you know it's going to come out the way you imagine it. Right. So those days when I'm working 14 hours and then I would have to go home and record and edit another video for my channel for the next day. Like those days when I climb into bed and I'm exhausted, I love those days. I live for those days. Like, it's not healthy. I don't recommend anybody does it. I watched a very scary documentary about losing sleep and how it's killing people, but I love those moments. And if they're few and far between, that's even better, because don't do that as a lifestyle. But I love it. I can't help but stay motivated. I'm excessively motivated through it.
How many things were you juggling? Forget all the responsibilities on this single project. You had that. You're doing stuff for your channel. You're still running Cloak. What's going on all at once while this is happening?
While this was happening, I was working on this other project that I released while we were in pre-production called Damien, which was this big animated project. I was doing all the sound engineering for that and promo. I was working on videos for my own channel. I was working on this other project that isn't ready to talk about yet. And this, so it was busy, just very busy. Yeah.
And you have to just move yourself from one mindset to the next to focus on those creative things without it bleeding into each other, right? Like,
yeah,
that's got to be fun.
It's fun. It is. It is fun. It's tough. It's tough as hell, but it is fun.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. All right, we got another question from Twitter. This is from @DragonTamDragon. Mark, you are very creative in so many ways. That being said, if an opportunity should arise for voice acting in a video game, would you take that offer? Do they have that offer? Are they offering you that?
Yeah, every day they're knocking down my doors to get me in again. No, I don't have people coming to me for these sort of things. The big thing, I know many voice actors, and what they'll tell you is about the world of voice acting is it's tough. It's tough to get jobs. And it's almost to the point where it's so tough that I don't want to just like walk in with my clout and just being like, give me a voice to do. Look at my clout. Look at how many subscribers I have. Yes. My clout is huge. Like, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. It's just, and I don't even think they would give it to me anyway. Because it's just like, I respect the world. I'm not given the opportunities in the first place, so I'm not turning them down. If they did come to me and it was a project that I was really passionate about, and I think I could do justice, meaning I could dedicate the time to it, much like the podcast that I just did called The Edge of Sleep, which came out and turned out wonderfully. Yeah. It was one of the first projects I've ever worked on that I didn't direct or do anything about. I was just an actor in it. Just an actor, yeah. And like, if that was an opportunity, it took a few days, and we just smashed it out, and it turned out great. Like, those moments, I'm happy to do, but... Yeah. I'm not going to go pursue them.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks for those questions. We've got a bunch in the room. We've got some microphones out there. First one looks like it's going to be you. Go for it.
Hi, Mark. My name's Melissa. I've been watching your videos since like 6th grade. I'm now a freshman in college. Dear God, I'm old. But my question is, would you ever consider like pulling a ninja and like jumping ship from YouTube and maybe considering putting your content on other platforms, especially with the whole thing that's been going on with YouTube the past week? So, yeah.
The thing is, I love YouTube. I'll be the first to tell you, I will go to bat for YouTube because as a platform, like, I'm not saying I love YouTube the company, but I love YouTube and what it represents. The company is a company, so I can't fault it for being a company. But YouTube is such a beautiful place for allowing people to express their creativity. And there are some roadblocks in the way, yes, and there are some problems that need to be addressed, yes. But from my personal experience with speaking to the people who work at YouTube, they do honestly care about creating an environment where people can make things. And the people that have made incredible things on YouTube are some of the most intelligent and creative people that I've ever met. And I know this sounds like a diplomatic answer, but this is really my passion. I love YouTube. It has given me everything that I've had in my life. It's allowed me to create the things that I've wanted to make, and it's allowed me to become the person that I've wanted to be. It allowed me to find myself. And I'm not saying I can't do that on Twitch or Mixer or somewhere else, but YouTube, I think, has so much more potential, and I want to be at the forefront of showcasing that road. I want to pave this path for more people to follow along and like live their dreams and have everything that they could possibly want. It's why I'm willing to fight against problems on the platform. It's why I pick my battles very carefully. It's why I want to like give people the benefit of the doubt and also call them out when they're completely wrong. Like it's important to me. And I believe it can be important to so many more people.
Were you surprised at all at how quickly you were able to get a response? I mean, yes, you're one of the biggest creators in the world, but YouTube is one of the largest corporations, like one of the largest companies in the world. For you to have a problem, for your fan base to speak up, and for you guys to get a response.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
That was surprising.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like a lot of people that I spoke to at YouTube didn't know. Here's the thing. YouTube is so much bigger than people imagine it. They like when they gave me the numbers and the sense of scale that they had, like in the past month, they've had to ban 5 million spam bot accounts that are legitimate spam bot accounts. Like the economies of scale is enormous. Like and what they have to deal with is enormous. So when say Suzanne Daniels called me and was like, I didn't know this was a problem, I believed her 100%. Absolutely. And she instantaneously was like, I'm going to be on this. We're going to work with this. My contact at YouTube, Meg, I've worked with Meg for years. She's amazing. Always goes to bat for me. Always connects me with the right people right away. Like she was on her vacation working to help me solve this problem. So like I can say from a personal experience that people on YouTube really do care. And if they know about a problem, they want to fix it. And they have a lot of other objectives that they're working on. And there's a lot of other problems going on. But those people that really speak out and were there for me immediately, like I'm really happy that they were there for me. For sure. And it's really cool to see. Yeah.
It's a great question. Thank you for that. I got two more. Let's go. We got microphones right there. Go for it.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was wondering, what was the difference between the production of just going from A Date with Markiplier to something so big as this?
Just people. Like that's the biggest thing. You never realize how many people are involved on bigger things. Like even in this room, like there's people behind every camera. There's someone working the jib back there. There's someone working in the booth. Like, yeah, jib man. Yeah. Like just the number of people, the people that have to move the lights, the sandbags, the props, the set dressing, the tables, someone who has to carry a bag of fake organs into a cave a mile deep just because I wrote some stupid maybe cannibal scene. Like it's like you never think about it, but there's so many more people and all of those people need to be on the same page. My job, the majority of it, was just telling the same thing to everybody, just so everybody knew what we were doing. Because I wanted everyone to know, and I wanted to be like the person that was not going to be just like, oh, you should know, get out of here. Like I wanted everyone to be on the same page because if they know what they're making, and if they enjoy it just as much as I do, then they're going to be excited about it. Right. And that was the coolest thing. But it's people, to answer your question.
How often did you find yourself, as someone who's created their own content for so long, having to stop yourself from doing a thing that was somebody else's job?
Every time. YouTubers like we get nothing. And
you made the trailer.
Yeah, I made the trailer, and I'm not saying that the trailer that YouTube made was crap, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So in that aspect, like I've edited my videos for so long. I have an editor now, but I still edit a lot of my own videos. I like the process, and I was like, I have this vision for the trailer. I'm gonna do it. You know, I'm so artistic, yes. But I wanted to do it myself there. But there's so many other cases where it's like, if you're working with anybody with a team and you know they know more than you do, let them do their job. Help them as much as you can. Let them do their job, because I don't know lighting that well. I had a director of photography that made everything look beautiful. Beautiful. And he was working on a rush timetable, and he still pumped out creativity. Like, let people do their jobs and do whatever you can to support that. I don't know best in every aspect. I know the best in some because I wrote it, but I don't know the best way to make sure all the pieces go exactly where they need to go.
Which is an important mindset for you as like the director, as number one in the call sheet. You set the tone. It's important that you walk around like that, especially when everybody else is walking around going, "Oh, Mark knows. Mark knows. I bet you he knows."
Mark knows.
Yeah. God, one more. Let's do one more, please. You got a microphone yourself. Go for it.
Howdy.
Hi.
So my question is, I'm looking forward to creating content. Not necessarily, on YouTube, but, that would help. But my question is, what advice would you give me to start that process?
Well, what do you want to make, first off?
People laugh.
You want to make people laugh? Yes. Okay, that's a great place to start. You can do that in so many different ways. You can make videos that make people laugh. You can make edits of other videos that make people laugh. You can create things like YouTube poops that make things laugh. Get your editing chops underneath you. You can make memes. Just like start pumping out memes like crazy. One of them will catch on with somebody. Like everyone, there's so many people on the internet nowadays. Someone will laugh at something. The most important thing above all else is to make something. Have you made anything yet? You've made so much. That's good. Most people who ask me this, like, how do I get started? They're like, well, I thought about making something. No, you're already ahead of the game. You've already made things. That's the only way that you get to where I am. I didn't know a thing about what I was doing. I didn't go out there saying, I want to make people laugh. I just was like, I want to make something. And I made something every day. So long as you keep doing it every day, like it may not catch on to a huge number of people, but if you're putting it out there and you're happy with what you've made, it'll still reach some people. I cannot promise you will reach the level of success that would even let you self-sustain yourself with just that. Because it is still to this day a little bit of a dream to be to that level where you can make money enough to make it your whole job. But like keep that passion of creation going, and you never know where it's going to take you. You never know what you're going to learn, and you never know like how far it'll go. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Oh, no problem.
Do you remember when you hit that moment? Because you're right, everyone wants to be able to self-sustain on the thing that they love doing. When did you realize, holy crap, I can do that now?
It was when one of my first videos went on Reddit. This is like 2012. It's also my first exposure to hate, like in a big way, which also is good because I'm very lucky in that like any hate just rolls right off of me. Not that I get tons of it, but my philosophy is if someone doesn't know me, how can they really speak about me? Like if one of my friends criticizes me, that'll destroy me. I'll just be like sobbing in a closet. But yeah, because they know me and I trust them. But when one of my amnesia reaction compilation, it went on Reddit. It got to like number 3. It got me tens of thousands of views. Tens of thousands. Yeah. To me at that time, I remember I was sitting with my family and suddenly I had emails turned on my phone for subscribers, and suddenly my phone was just buzz, 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 and I was like, what's happening? Am I popular? And then I just started getting subscriber after subscriber, and I went to like, oh boy, people love my videos, and I go to the comments and it's just like, who is this jerk off here? Oh, this screaming maniac here. Oh, what a loser, like stuff like that. But there were also people that were like, hey, this is pretty funny. Yeah. Not really funny, but hey, I liked it. And that's what stuck with me. And that was like, I wasn't making any money at the time. I wasn't making a penny until like 9 months into this. And then I was making a penny. Yeah. And then a year and a half later, I was actually able to pay my rent, and I was like, oh, maybe this is something here. But that's the first moment that was like, instead of just being an exercise so I could speak every day for Let's Plays, I was like, maybe I can do this. Yeah. Maybe there's an audience here. And it was such a small number of people comparatively, but when I had 100 subscribers from that boost, that was everything. 100 people were watching me. And that 100 turned into 200, and I was like, 200 people watching my videos? Like, and then it was 500. I'm like, this is it. I've peaked. 500 people. Then I hit 1,000. I was like, I gotta do something about this. So I stuffed cinnamon in my mouth for the cinnamon challenge. Like, I'll hurt myself for 1,000 subscribers. I'll owe it. I'll never go higher than this. Like, and then it's just like it kept.
Was there ever a number that was scary? It was like, oh no, 500,000 people.
Yeah. When it hit 100,000, I was like, that's too many people. It's more than my hometown. Someone's made a mistake. Someone will realize they've made a mistake, turn some knobs at YouTube, get my subscribers. It'll fine. They'll take care of it.
The old YouTube knobs. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I asked him when Heist came out. I was like, can you go down in the basement, turn the knobs up on the views, like just a little bit? Turns out, like either he didn't want to turn the knob or there is no knob.
It's one or the other.
I think there's a knob. It's big. He's just one guy, so
More
it's like
of a
hard.
wheel.
Hard to
Than a knob.
crank that knob. Yeah, it's real
absolutely.
tough.
Man, what a treat having you here, dude. It's been so nice.
Is time up?
We got to wrap things up. You got a million other things you got to go do. I know. But how great was this? Honestly, let's not be sad.
Thank you.
You guys, you're an awesome audience. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, asking the great questions that you asked. And thank you, dude, for making this awesome piece of content that we can watch over and over and over again. And all the stuff you made over the years. Thanks for working so hard, man.
Oh, thank
it's
you
been
so
so
much.
much fun to watch you and be a fan of yours and be a part of this awesome fan base. And it's been great to have you here. All right, I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't watched it yet, A Heist with Markiplier is free. YouTube original series. Go watch it right now and then watch it again and again and again. And then tell all your friends to do the same thing. Anything else you want to tell the world about before we get out of here?
No,
That's
just
it.
thanks for having
Let's
me.
go watch
Really
it.
appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, dude. Guys, make some noise. Markiplier.